Both VNR and Flash Extractor have unique features. Sometimes it's necessary to work in parallel between VNR and Flash Extractor when recovering data. In this example, Flash Extractor has the layout for the flash memory dump. However, while ECC is supported, the XOR isn't. So first we must fix the errors using Flash Extractor's ECC engine because VNR's engine doesn't fully support this controller. Then we can solve the XOR in VNR, or we can continue solving the case with VNR or export the case back into Flash Extractor to solve the mix and assemble the dump. First, we must fix the errors using Flash Extractor's ECC engine because VNR doesn't fully support this controller. Then we can solve the XOR in VNR. If we look at the documentation for a Silicon Motion controller, we see that the page structure is data, which is either 512 bytes or 1024 bytes, followed by error correcting code, which could be between 9 and 230 bytes, at which point the data and ECC repeats until it comes to the spare area, which is either 4, 6, or 10 bytes. So the next thing we do is open the dump in VNR's structure viewer, click on structure view, sync position, hex view. Then we drill down to the page level and find some user data. If we can assume that the data area is 1024 bytes, then we need to find the size of the ECC. If we look at the dump, we'll see this line going down here. That line could either indicate the end of a code word or it could be a bad column. So the next step would be to load the bad byte column remover element. Click on edit and then find some user data, set the preset to Silicon Motion, and then run auto detection. If we look at the byte positions, it looks like they're on code word boundaries, so it doesn't look like they are bad columns. So we can go back into the dump viewer. So now we reopen the dump and we select the start of the error correcting code up until that line, which is 4C bytes. So we go into error correcting code and enter 4C bytes. So now we can copy and paste this value until the end, which would then bring us to the spare area, which we can identify by these jaggy lines over here. If we go into the spare area, we can then further define the block number, page number, and block function, which we find in the documentation over here. So if we look at the documentation, the header is 1 byte, the logical block number is 2 bytes, and the logical page number is between 1 and 2 bytes. Next, we must find the appropriate Flash Extractor layout for this dump. In this case, we would add the data area and the error correcting area, followed by the SA. So the data area is 400 hex plus 4C hex is 1100 bytes, followed by the spare area, which is 1B bytes, which in decimal is 27. So we go back into Flash Extractor and we search for a layout that is 1100 bytes, followed by, underscore followed by 27 spare area, which we find here. None of these ECC codes work with this dump, so we choose the layout that has no XOR code. If we scroll down, we see that the ECC is supported by this layout, and if we look again, the spare area is also supported because it's able to parse the spare area, which we defined earlier. So if we click on run to synthesize the XOR key, it's going to synthesize the XOR key. Rusolut has been putting a lot of effort into making this run fast, as we can see here. Then we apply the XOR key. So now we have a couple options. We can copy and paste the XOR element and save its contents. Then do the same for the second dump. And then copy the FE folder that has all the parameters, load the dump, and load the layout, 1100 by 27. Like I said, these are all ported XOR keys. So we load the generic layout, which is not going to support the error correcting code because we fixed it in VNR. So what we do is choose off. Now, if we scroll through here, the spare area is parsed. Then we can use Flash Extractor to find the mix. Use the block number assembler. Then we need to find the block size. We'll get the block size for the scan. Find block size. We need to modify this so the banks are all FFFF. Okay, then we can open the image and all the user data is there. So now we can solve the case with VNR as well. We have the XOR over here, we have a block pair over here, and we have a unite over here, which we join by page. And then we set up a block manager element. And then we open the block management element. By default, it takes the block number and page number offsets from the geometry that we specified. In this case, I also need to know what the block function is. So I add that. I know what the address is because it came right before the LBN. So it is 2260. And next we build a table. And we have to invert the LBN, we have to invert the block function, and invert the logical page number. Next, what we can do is do a group by block function, so we can figure out what block functions are responsible for storing user data. So the block function 20 has the highest count. Also look at the structure here. We see that the user data over here has a good spare area and it has data in it. If we go to 30, which looks like it has the next largest amount of data, it's the same. If we go to 40, which has another large amount of data, it looks like it's an update block because there are areas where it's empty and areas where it has data, so we don't want to use this. And 00 and FF, we can discount because they are just empty blocks. So if we set up a filter for only page functions that have 30 and 20 in them, and then do a block sort, we see that all the block numbers are in order. If we scroll down to the end, we have a sane value. It looks like it goes from logical block number 5CD, and the last block number is 752. So this is probably the end of the bank. Insert all missing blocks. It says it added 1D9 blocks. Then if we do check blockchain, it says it has found no errors, so we don't have any duplicate blocks. So next we click on build logical image, and then open the image with file system viewer. We see that the user data is found. So we can solve the case with either VNR or Flash Extractor.